Are you ready to take the stress out of planning your next trip? In this video, I'm going to share with you the apps that I use when it comes to researching for my trip, navigating around a city and budgeting for said trip. So join us as we look at the apps that we use or I use on a regular basis when planning our holidays. My first stop is usually YouTube and just looking at travel vlogs, destination, what to do's, all of that sort of thing. And then of course we dive into blogs where we can read people's experiences, but also quite often blogs will give you a what to do in a really easy and concise way, where YouTube will show you all the bells and whistles and some of the on the ground experiences and what they look like. It gives you a little bit more of that personal feel, where sometimes a blog can still have that personal feel but give you a lot more concise information. I like mixing the two and getting an even picture of a place that we're looking at going to. We've used Rick Steve since 2013 on our very first trip to Europe. When we planned it, we got introduced to Rick really early on. So I guess he planted the seed of me wanting to help people travel better through our experiences and the things that we learn. Rick Steves offers lots of things. He's got a YouTube channel, a website with loads of information, but my now go-to spot is to go to his Rick Steves Europe app. In this app, you will find walking tours, cultural information, interviews with local guides who are experts in that area, and also just him reflecting on his experience in different places as well. The walking tours I find invaluable. I probably use them more before we go. That usually jogs my memory to go and see something else, because Rick's been telling me for months that that was something worth doing. I find Rick Steves Europe app really invaluable in this planning and researching stage. Once we've got a rough idea of the itinerary and the things we want to do and all of that sort of stuff, I do have a quick look now at places like booking.com and TripAdvisor, just again to see more of what local guides are saying to do. And for booking.com, it's more about seeing where accommodation is and what sort of prices a quick search will give us for the hotels. And we're going to move into budgeting and look at some other apps that we can use for budgeting in the next section. Usually have a rough idea of how much I want to spend for a hotel, and a quick look on booking.com at this point will let me know if I'm going to even be able to hit a budget in a particular destination close to where we'd want to be. Now, once you've got your booking and you know where you want to go, something that I would always suggest that you do is go and check your local government travel advices, whether there are any travel advisories or conditions to travel because of something going on in that area. In Australia, we can register our travels with Smart Traveller, not just find out what's going on. So then if anything happens while we're on the ground, like a natural disaster, the government know where we are, and when my kids go on the phone and say, help find my mum and dad, they know roughly where we are and where we were staying and all of that sort of thing. The first spot I go to when it comes to budget is I look at a website. Once I've got that rough idea from booking.com, I go to a website called Budget Your Trip. On this website, you put in the destination that you're going to, and it will give you a breakdown of what it will cost to visit there. They've got the 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and then a couple of sections for couples. When it comes up, it'll come up in the local currency to that destination. But the thing that I really love about it is you can scroll through, get that overview, and then bring down a drop down and change it to your currency, so you know what sort of ballpark you would have to save or aim to have in your budget to cover a visit of a couple of days or a week or a month in that destination. It is my go-to budgeting first step. XE currency converter. I know they've got a whole lot of other investment-y type features in their website that I've never touched. I purely use it for their currency conversion. The thing I love about their app is you can actually use it as a calculator. So if you're trying to actually work out how much something would be in a particular currency and you're looking at different features, like you might be looking at accommodation, food, and a couple of activities that you want to do, and you want to see exactly how much you need for that, because you can put all those in hit plus, comes up with whatever the euros are, then I can scroll up and see how much Australian dollars I would need. Just round it up, just so I know I've got a little bit of a buffer. Our new favourite go-to travel money card is the Wise card. Did you know the Wise card has 40 currencies loaded onto it? So that opens up your options. Up until last year, we were using our Qantas card. Actually, our last trip last year, we did use our Qantas card in Europe primarily because a lot of the time we need euros. But last year we also needed Polish zloty and Czech koruna. And so our Qantas card didn't cover either of those currencies. So I hopped online, did a bit of research and decided to give the Wise card a go. We loved it. The Wise card will now become our primary currency money card when we travel, and I'm going to tell you why. When we load onto our Qantas card, it can take up to 3 days for the money to actually hit our account and be usable. When you're on the ground traveling, you don't want that. And last year, towards the end of our trip, we needed to transfer some money across to Qantas. We gave it what we thought would be enough time because the last couple had gone through reasonably well, and this one did not go through. In the end, we were going out to dinner and it was going to be an expensive dinner. We had to transfer more money to our Wise card, and I think it was within an hour we had that money sitting converted in euros. On our next trip, the Wise card will be our primary card. It's just easy to use, it's dependable, the fees are not too bad. There's a link in the description to all of the apps and websites that I'm mentioning today, and any that are affiliate links like the Wise card will be in the affiliate section. Before we continue, if you're getting value out of this video, I invite you to subscribe to our channel. We're an Aussie couple who enjoy travelling Europe now. Our kids have grown up and often we can be found travelling around Australia. And say hello in the comments below. Let us know what apps I've mentioned that you use or that you might want to use in the future. Or let us know the apps that you find invaluable for your planning. What do you use for navigating? For us, over the last couple of years, our go-to when we're on the ground is Google Maps. We find it invaluable. I love that you can put in multiple waypoints when you're walking anywhere, and you can follow the path really easily. I also use Google Maps really early on in all of my planning. So even if I'm doing a road trip or even just trying to see how far it is between two cities, I'll use Google Maps. If I want to have a look at what we could possibly do in a day as far as walking around a city or whether we'd need to use public transport, I use Google Maps. And then when we're on the ground, Phil will quite often have his phone out and be looking at public transport schedules and timetables and all of that sort of thing, and we'll be using Google Maps to to actually navigate to get to new places that we're going to when we're on the ground. We have used Apple Maps as a backup once. We were in Budapest and we could not get Google Maps to work to save our lives. We ended up using Apple Maps and it was really good for that. But our go-to for on the ground for that sort of thing is Google Maps. Another tip that Phil really likes with Google Maps is he loves using it when we're on the ground to find a restaurant for dinner. Because he's the one with the sense of taste and all of that, I just say to him, food's your domain. If you don't want to eat the first thing or whatever I think looks good as we walk past it, it's up to you to do the research. He's the one with the sense of taste, I'm not. So we use Google Maps. He just goes restaurants near me, looks at all the reviews and makes a decision about where we eat. Our preferred car navigation app is now Waze. There's more Waze users around you. The GPS readings from all the cars, you get an up-to-date advice about how heavy the traffic is, what sort of delays you're looking at. We've just made Waze our car navigation preference. In another video I'm going to go into Arello a little bit more, but we use that as our data supply for when we're on the ground. Pro tip for that would be look into your eSIM before you go, and if possible, set it up before you leave home. So once you hit the ground in that new destination and you go into your phone to turn it off aeroplane mode, flick that eSIM on and you'll be ready to go, and you'll be able to get your taxis and whatever else you need to do as soon as you arrive in that destination. Travelling smart means quite often being organised and having all your stuff in a way that you understand it. And so for me, I use an app called Notion. Notion I can work on my computer in my office, and then I've got my phone linked and my laptop linked. So if I pull up Notion, I've got all that information at the tip of my fingers. It means that if I book something on my desktop, download e-tickets or any other relevant information, I can download those and they are then in my trip planner for that trip on the day that they need to be, and it's all organised and ready to go. But I'm also an old school girl and I like paper, so I do actually have a folder with all my paperwork printed out, especially spare copies of our passports. I also leave a copy of our passport and any other important information at home, so that if anything does happen to us while we're on the ground, our kids know that there's a folder that's got documents that they may need. Let us know in the comments below what apps you have not heard of before, or maybe a new way to use an app that you haven't thought about using it before. And if you've got an app that you absolutely love for the planning stage or for budgeting, also let us know that in the comments below. That may help someone else travel better. It may even help me travel better. But for now, if you want to see more, check out this video here where I share 32 essentials that we very rarely leave home without. As always, thanks for joining us. Travel brilliantly. Bye.